Now the Lord told Moses from the burning bush, go back to Egypt and give Pharaoh a push. Tell him I said to let my people go. Tell him I want my people to worship me, so he might as well just set them free. Tell him I said to let my people go. And Moses said, I'll do the best I can, and he headed on back to Egypt land, grabbed his brother Aaron, and they headed for Pharaoh's door. Pharaoh said, hey Moses, long time no see, what brings you back here in front of me? Tell me, Moses, what can I do you for? Moses said, I've been talking to the great I Am, the holy God of Abraham, and Jehovah says he wanted you to know that he's called his children to pay the price of a holy desert sacrifice, and if you're smart, you'll listen to my advice, and you'll let my people go. Pharaoh said, this might sound odd, but I don't really know your God, and my God says that you're just pulling tricks. And Moses, if it's all right with you, I'll do whatever I choose to do, and your people can just go right on and making bricks. Without straw, Moses, what do you think of that? Well, Pharaoh puffed out his chest and hardened his heart. Negotiations kind of fell apart, and the challenges flew with magicians, staffs, and snakes. Pharaoh said, you're my slave, you belong to me, and there ain't no way I'm going to set you free. And that's when the Lord decided to raise the stakes. Moses said, Pharaoh, I've relayed to you the things the Lord has told me to, but you've decided you're going to tell Jehovah no. Well, I'm telling you, son, I've tried to warn you that the wrath of God will come upon you, and in the end, you're going to let my people go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. The Lord told Pharaoh to let my people go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. You just ask for trouble when you tell Jehovah no. For the first plague, the Lord was just warming up, and he turned the waters of the Nile to blood, because he knew that Pharaoh's magicians could do the same. But then he sent a plague of frogs from every stream and under rocks and logs, and Pharaoh then began to learn Jehovah's name. Because the frogs all died and left a stench, while Pharaoh's magicians just sat on a bench, and Pharaoh cried, all right, you win the game. Pharaoh said to let them go, but then he hardened his heart and then said no. And Moses, well, he started to see a trend. But he did just what Jehovah said and watched the Lord do a number on Pharaoh's head, because he knew who was going to win out in the end. And every time the Lord would send a plague, and Pharaoh would cry and plead and beg, and then the Lord would take that plague away. After each plague would then depart, old Pharaoh would turn around and harden his heart, and this went on day after day after day. Then the Lord turned the dust to lice, and then he sent a plague of flies, and then the cows and sheep got sick and all went down. Then all the Egyptians all got boils, and then the skies rained hail, and thunder roiled, and lightning struck, and fire ran across the ground. And then the plague of locusts came, and Pharaoh cursed Jehovah's name as a plague of darkness settled on the land. And once again Pharaoh asked for pardon, but once again his heart he hardened, and it took one more plague to make Pharaoh understand. And the Lord told Moses, we're at the end, and it's serious now, and I'm going to send an angel of death to finish off my plan. To protect your people, take a perfect lamb and sacrifice him with your own hand. Put his blood on your doorpost and then just stay inside. And when the angel of death raises his hand to strike down the firstborn across the land, he'll pass over every house where the blood resides. Then came the plague, then came the plague. The Lord told Pharaoh to let my people go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. Just ask for trouble when you tell Jehovah no. Well, when this last plague finally ended and Pharaoh's pride at last relented, because Egypt couldn't handle anymore, then Pharaoh said, slow as molasses, take your cows, your camels, your sheep, and your asses, and get out of Egypt. Take your people and go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. The Lord told Pharaoh to let my people go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. For you just ask for trouble when you tell Jehovah no. There's a lot more of this tale to tell. I've done my best to tell it well, and I apologize for all the time it took. But I don't have time for any more, and if you want to know the rest of the story, well, I guess you're just gonna have to read the book. Then came the plague, then came the plague. The Lord told Pharaoh to let my people go. Then came the plague, then came the plague. Well, you just ask for trouble when you tell Jehovah no. Then